What's up, guys? Man, it's another episode here on YouTube and everywhere, wherever you may watch my video. My name is Steph Saucy. Some call me Steph, some call me Saucy. You know that though. I also host a page on my YouTube. It's a playlist actually. It's called Steph's M Life. I own a BMW M3. In case you didn't know that, you can go check that out. I got a bunch of videos on that. And also, I talk about finances. I talk about dating, relationships, things that people want to see go viral. Yes, I talk about that. And today's about to be, oh man, next level. I got somebody that is anointed by God. I talked about her plenty of times to you guys. It's been a long time. I was like, I'm gonna get her on my platform. I finally got her. Her name is Elaine Goree, formerly known as Sapphire Achilles. She went from modeling to ministry and also is known for her podcasting and an advocate speaking about consequences of the modern mind. You know, you should have been on Criminal Minds, Elaine. I don't know. What do you think about that? It's a little bit
Maybe
too
one
much,
day.
or kind of relate to
Maybe, yeah,
it?
maybe one day. I haven't actually watched it, but I heard it was really good.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's all acting at the end of the day, but I mean, still, you're
Yeah.
in the minds of certain things, and I really like what you've been doing. Obviously, it's been a while since we last spoken, but I'm glad to have you on today. How's everything out there? Were you in Maryland, the DMV area?
I'm in the Virginia area.
Oh, Virginia. Okay, okay. How is it out there?
It's good. The weather is a lot nicer. It's warmer, and I don't like
Uh,
the cold, so I'm blessed to have the sun.
I mean, even right now, you're blossoming in that nice place you're in right now. I
Oh,
like the
thank
background.
you.
It suits what we got going on today. I like it. It's nice, calm, serene.
Yes, it's my room, so hopefully it will do.
No, it's good. It's going to be all right. So, look, I want to get you on today because I'm a passionate person, right? Anytime I do something, I'm very passionate. I went to school for media communications, broadcasting. So I had the radio bug. I actually met you in New York City at a radio station that's very popular. So it's no question you're not used to being on big platforms. So that's why, it's very important that I let people know about this. But first and foremost, I just want to get a brief just background. You can let, my people, my fans and followers know just a little bit about yourself, your upbringing.
Yeah, so yeah, as he was previously saying, I am originally known as Sapphire Achilles and talk about a lot about the consequences of the modern mind, specifically more talking to women, only because I am a woman and I understand that, there's a lot of things that go on in the background and things like that. But the ultimate goal for us women, as I share to both men and women, is for us to unite the families back together, create a type of roles of relationships where we're able to unify again. And I do believe that society, the agenda, whatever it may be, is causing us to um, have a lot of tension in that area. So my primary goal is for us to come together in that way.
Hmm.
Um,
Okay.
so yeah.
That's interesting. So, but when did you pick that up? Like, at what age? Was it like teenage years or adolescent? Like, when did that start for you? To have a curious mind about that.
Yeah, uh, yeah, it's a good question. So I
Mhm.
started off when I was actually out of my own home when I was around 14, 15 years old. I left my
Okay.
parents' house, and so I grew up fairly early. But then I ended up in a barber shop my first
Mm,
year of high school, and I basically was raised in the barber shop with all men. It was a
right.
very hood environment
Yeah, right.
in the middle of Maryland, and at first, I was very defensive. I felt like a lot of people hurt me in that area. I was homeless for a time being, so I had a
Mm,
lot of defenses and like walls of defense that I tried to use to justify my behavior, but it wasn't acceptable. And what I learned in that barbershop was that we cannot, as women, justify our badge of victimhood that we like to wave around to everybody and think that the world owes us favors. The world doesn't owe us anything.
right.
And it is our job to make sure that we do not bleed on others and that we heal to a point where when we do find that man that everybody is so called looking for, but not really working for, you have to be a wife before you become a wife.
Right.
You have to continuously be working on who you are, how your character is, like who you're around, your environment, everything. And
Mhm.
people don't realize that all of these things play a role. We wait as women till we're 30, 40, 50 years old to want to settle down, but that's not smart. It's not
Mm.
intentional and it's not encouraged because a lot of us women will say have fun, do your own thing and then settle down later,
Right.
but
Right.
you cannot wait till you hit the wall. You can't do that.
You
And
know,
it's not sufficient.
right,
Huh?
right. And no, it's not. It's a funny point that you bring up that because my uncle, man, me and him talk about these things a lot, and it's like a used car dealership, right, Saf? I mean, excuse me, Elaine. Because you go there, you see what the mileage is. I don't really want that high mileage. Let me go something lower. And I think that kind of, if I'm not being rude, I'm just trying to be respectful about it. There are a lot of women out here that, like you said, in the beginning, early ages of their young years they had that mindset. Okay, I'm gonna just do what I want to do, and then I'll settle down later on. But that's not the case. You know what I'm saying? I don't agree with that. I feel like you're more damaged.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Later on in life than when you should have settled down early in those years. But I just want to get back to you said you grew up on your own at 14, 15, being around those guys in the barbershop. How did you overcome adversity? Being a woman on your own and having like a little bit of support but just trying to find your way through life to where you're at now.
Yeah, so I was kind of house hopping for about 5, 6 years. Barbershop taught me very, very important lessons, and I was thinking about doing a series on it later in life.
Hmm.
But I was thinking, it's just very interesting when you grow up in an environment where you're surrounded by only men and men in an area that are trying to educate you in a way. I was very persistent as a young girl trying to defend women, trying to
Hmm.
say, not all women think like this, not all women think like that. And you see that a lot of times in today's debates where women will come up to the podium and to the mic and say, well, the about abortion or the exception about this or that, or like they'll try to justify cheating, they'll try to justify a lot
Sure.
of things that women should not be doing in any respect. And I used to try to defend people because I was like, everybody's been hurt" kind of mindset.
Yeah.
But it's not the way to look at it. And when I got humbled by these
Hmm.
people, by these gentlemen who were trying to knock some sense into me, they told me one thing. They say, hit dogs holler. And that's
What's
when I
that?
learned hit dogs holler basically like if there's a pack of wolves and you throw a bone and the wolf tries to get the bone, then obviously you're still a wolf. So I learned
Oh,
to
wow.
kind of be quiet and try to I learned to listen. And when you learn as a woman, when we learn to listen, that's one of the core things that a lot of us women do never get around to doing. We never get around to actually stopping, understanding the man that we're speaking to and listening to where he's coming from. Because us women, we want the emotional support, we want the emotional security, but
Right.
we do not understand that men just think differently. They just
Hmm.
think differently, and that's okay. That's their strength, and our emotional needs are our strength. But we cannot rely on a man to always fulfill exactly what we need and what we're looking for all the time because we're just not the same.
Right.
But your original question was, how did I get over that adversity?
Yeah.
I could only say God. God was the only thing, the only one that was able to get me to a place where I had to realize if I am going to want to get married, which I did, I wanted to get
Hmm.
married, I wanted to have children at a certain point in time. And I
Right.
realized that having a modern mind, a mind full of selfishness, entitlement, and rebellion,
Hmm.
having a mind fulfilled or having a mind filled with those type of characteristics and qualities was just not going to be sufficient enough to have a good looking man, one
Right.
with character, respect, and someone I admired.
Oh, that's dope. Well, look, I'm telling you, God, He does it all. I mean, I just recently celebrated Easter. I don't know about you. Did you
Mhm.
go to church or anything like that this past Sunday?
I go to church every Saturday, so I go to church
Okay.
on Saturday, but
Oh, you Saturday. Okay, yeah. So, I just, felt like, bringing in that holiday and, even still, even at my age, Elaine, I am 29 years old. I just celebrated my birthday a couple of months ago and still just looking in a
happy
sense.
birthday.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that.
Mhm.
Still looking in a sense, but my next point, what I would like to ask you is I've seen you. Like I said, you've interviewed plenty of celebrities. You've been on TV. You've been on radio. I just mentioned that, but I feel like I had to mention that again because you are a big deal within the media space. And I just can't understand. Like you're saying you're formerly known as Sapphire. I know you from Achilles podcast. You've gone viral plenty of times. So what was it like, was it a certain moment? Because you said you were modeling. So was it like a moment or a multitude of things what made you say, hey, look, I can't do this no more, and I'm going to transform my content into something different? Like, what was it?
Yeah, so I gave up modeling and I gave up the media because for the sole purpose of understanding that God does not operate in those areas. We as a Hollywood industry, we believe with our soul that we can play on the devil's playground and continue to outsmart the devil, and that's just not the way that things work. Unfortunately, a lot of us will get in situations where we cannot control the things that happen to us, and then when we act sad about it later, it is 100%. I'm not blaming
Mhm.
anybody when it comes to the things that they can't control. But at the same
Mhm.
time, we have to also understand that we don't want to be playing on the devil's playground at all. We think that we can model and still be
Right.
Christians, but the same things that we're modeling, the same things that we're wearing on our face, the makeup, the jewelry, the
Mhm.
hair,
Mhm.
everything, it screams vanity, it screams selfishness. You're going to be put in environments, if it's not makeup, it's jewelry, if it's not jewelry, it's associations, if it's not associations,
Mhm.
you're you're building some type of image, a look that
Right.
you are conforming to. And it in the end it becomes a spirit that is not heavenward.
So let me get this correct so my followers and listeners out there can understand where I'm coming from, where you're coming from. So you pretty much
Hmm.
can't be in between because I know there's a good and then there's a bad when being in the industry. So my question to you is, although you still continue to have your values and you know that was never going to change when you started modeling, but you felt like even still you could not get into the pearly gates, as we know is heaven, by doing what you were doing beforehand.
Yeah, but the thing is, I was changing my values.
Oh,
Even
you
though
did.
I wasn't, yeah, even though I wasn't sleeping around, I wasn't doing that, which is why people respected me. There were things
Hmm.
that worldly people and some of even church people do not understand when it's slow. Like there's one truth and there's a million counterfeits. There's 10 million
Right.
deceptions.
Hmm.
You don't have to the truth, like the way the devil wants us to think is it doesn't have to be 100% of the truth. It can
Hmm.
be 99% of the truth and 1% error. That's still good enough for Satan. And so it didn't have to be something extreme where it was like, oh, you don't have to do something dramatic to,
Hmm. Hmm.
but it may be, oh, that picture looks really nice, maybe just a little bit more off the shoulder, or maybe just a little bit
Hmm.
more makeup, or don't you like that smoky eye look, like your
Right,
eyes
right,
look
right,
very
right.
like sexy in a way. And I know that when I look into a camera and I'm modeling for whatever brand that they're giving to me, I'm
Hmm.
seducing the camera. This is taking on a spirit of vanity, is taking on a spirit of I know that I look good and the light is no longer on God. If our sole purpose as Christians
Right.
to is to bring children to God, I guarantee you, me modeling in front of a camera with smoky eyes and seducing the camera is not bringing anyone closer to God.
Yeah, that's deep because look, I've seen what it is to model, I've seen women countlessly, have to put on those looks, have to put on those dresses, because that's
Right.
what they love. That's what you ladies love. Y'all like to look good. I mean, you are
Yeah.
a woman, you are feminine, you should be proud of your approach and how you look. But
Right.
I just feel like, you know, I don't understand how you cannot still be the same person, but then still pursue your goals and dreams in life, knowing that you might have to just be a little bit out of your comfort, and do those type of things. But I guess you're from what your standpoint is, that's not who you wanted to be, and you felt like that was starting to become a bad image and putting a bad taste in your mouth towards that industry.
Yeah, I will say that when it came to the Hollywood industry, I think we like to deceive ourselves a lot. I think
Mhm.
that we like to think that we can overcome things or that we think that we can remain with a godly heart, but in the
Mhm.
end of the day, we're already so sinful.
Okay.
Nobody, since, it's worldwide known that nobody is perfect. And
Right.
because we are not, that means there is no point in time where we are able to get over absolutely everything that life throws at us.
Mhm.
So why would we put at risk our salvation, if anything? A lot of people, we like to bargain with heaven. We like to say, oh, well, can I do this much, but I won't do this? Or can I give up this much, but how much do I really have to give up? And I
Mhm.
don't think that that's the way that we should look at it. I think instead of looking at it as how little do I have to give, I
Mhm.
think that we should start looking at it, how much can I give?
Right, right.
How much can I give away for God? If I can give my youth away, my prime time, like I'm 22 right now. You
Mhm.
don't think
Dang,
people
that's
don't think like I want to be like out there like taking pictures, hanging with the celebrities. Like it's
right,
not like
right.
I got a bad rep or I got a bad reputation. Like
Mhm.
people are like I have everything going for me, but
Mhm.
at the same time, when I read the scripture and I read the fact that when you give your youth to God, when you give your the glory to God when you are so young, there's a special
Mhm.
place for those people
Mhm.
in God's eyes because we know that we can have a name and we can have success and money and things like that. There's very few people that will hit the peak of their success and then give it up rather than hitting rock bottom, which is what most of the time happens. People have nothing to give and then they follow God. But how many people have everything to gain and still give it up?
Nah, that's a good point because they always say there's a price to fame, right? So I feel like,
Yeah.
when you hear that and you hear the stories, I'm hearing your story, and I've talked to multiple people, about situations like this. It's pretty scary, and I really respect what you've done, the work. As you said to me, you are doing your ministry, which I'm going to talk to in a sec, but I just really would like you to shed light on things people should look forward to in your platform now, going from Sapphire now to now your full name, Elaine Goree. What is that like now? How has that transition have been for you?
Yeah, so it's been a really hard transition if I'm being completely transparent. I've quit wearing makeup, I quit wearing jewelry, I quit wearing like things that
Mhm.
I had to change with my dresser form and things like that. And it was very scary because I started to question um, just kind of what I was really doing in this life, and I felt like I lost myself. I felt like, I didn't know what to post anymore. I couldn't
Mhm.
post anymore. I didn't know what to do. I also became vegan. So it's like I came from one extreme to the other, and it was really
Right.
hard because I I didn't really know exactly where my place was, and I
Mhm.
didn't know exactly how God could use me. But I do believe, and I'm kind of still holding on to this hope that God will replace it with something that is going to be better for me, in terms of what I need instead of
Mhm.
what I want. And God will cleanse my heart because I understand that what I want when it comes to the influence and
Hmm.
the light. It's attention,
Right.
essentially.
Mhm.
And I understand that me wanting attention for myself is anything but godly.
Yeah, I mean, you have the right though, I feel like, to want that. I mean, you just brought up a great point, purpose, right? We all have a purpose,
Mhm.
whether we believe it or not, know it or not, like it or not. So I feel like me currently right now, my purpose, I was in that industry. Remember, I had met you at the radio station. Some things happen, bad
Mhm.
relationships with, people that I've worked with. So I had to take a step back. And now, as I've taken a step back, I've been freelancing, doing certain things, but just still trying to find my way. This was probably the first interview I've done with someone in a long time, and I love that. And I
Mhm.
want to get back to that. I definitely want to get to the woman that you've completely felt like they got insulted by your content. If you don't mind me bringing up from the past when you were originally Sapphire,
Yeah, please.
you went
Yeah.
viral, Sapphire, and I have it written down here. One of your posts, you said, according to ASA, you remember this one? You said 70 to
Yeah,
80%
it's my
of
first
women.
ever.
See, that's why I wanted to get to that. You said women initiate the
Mhm.
divorce. But here's the catch to all the
Mhm.
men out there, right? Men, you're going to really like this when I say this. She said men don't want to marry anymore because the risk outweighs the benefits. Because you know why? It only benefits women. And then the last point you made before the video ended was, to be honest with you, women don't bring anything to the table of value. And I seen the comments, like
Mhm.
they were upset at you. You're creating gender wars. Oh, how can you bring up statistics when you have no context to that? Can you please just let the people know what you meant by that? Because I still want to understand it too myself.
Yeah, so a lot of the feedback from women that I got was, well, we are the table, da 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 da, and
Right.
people really got mad at me when I said just because you're on all fours doesn't mean you're the table.
Ooh.
And a lot of people will rebuttal me only because they do not understand that. Well, I think they do understand, they just might not want to take accountability
Hmm.
with
Hmm.
the fact that we as a people do understand and do know that the government, the court system, all of these systems that are
Right.
created to cater to women,
Hmm.
to cater to destroying the household and giving benefit to the women majority of the time. And I'm
Hmm.
not just talking about when it comes to individuals. It just gets more unfortunate when you also have children because now there are so many mothers that are taking the child away from a father and creating a one parent household. And
Child
we don't
tax credits,
I'm
that's
not
what it's
even
called.
yeah, I'm not even gonna
Huh?
get into the statistics at that point because it's just
Yeah.
so sad to just witness all of these stories that have come to me and told me how much women now will take advantage of the fact that the government is going to support them in these
Mm.
areas. Even when it comes to abortion rates, I know that's a very, very high, controversial point,
Mm.
but there is over 300 million abortions in the past five
Mm.
years,
Dang.
about 75 million in 1 year. And that goes to show me that that was very short, and don't exactly quote me, but I think it was from 1700 to 2000 something.
Hmm.
It was like 320 years of war. All of those, every single death listed in a 300-year span
Yeah.
war was just of maybe like 1 or 2 million above the amount of abortions within 3 to 5 years.
Mm.
And that just goes to show like abortion rates is a holocaust right now.
Right.
It's horrible. It's worse than that.
Right.
We don't understand how many people are being killed, and there are women out here who really enjoy that. And it's very
Mm.
unfortunate, because it's not something to take lightly. It's not just a clump of cells. It's
Right.
not
Right.
just, like a lot of people are saying. oh, it's not like alive and things like that. It was completely false. It was completely delirious.
So I would want to rebuttal to that. How do us as men get into the position where we don't have to be that statistic when it comes to marriage? Because, like I said, I've never been engaged. I've never gotten to that next step because I am in fearful. Elaine, I am
Yeah,
fearful. I kid you not,
makes sense.
get to that, marriage stage because I have, certain assets that I just don't want to give up. And I hate to say that that's a part of the marriage. That's a part of the stuff that you sign based on
Mhm.
what, isn't presented in front of you. So my question back again to you is how do us men try to avoid that statistic and move beyond the stereotypes of, oh yes, marriage is only a piece of paper. No, it shouldn't be just a piece of paper. It should be more than
Mhm. I believe the best way to avoid any woman that you do not want to be, or you want to have less of a chance
that.
of putting yourself at risk of a man, as a man,
Mhm.
is that when you are looking for somebody, you have to understand where they're coming from. You have to see who their family is, who their parents are, to
Mhm.
see what kind of characteristics that they are putting down to their children. You have
Right.
to understand what kind of woman is she? Is she a woman that covers herself? Is she a woman that prays over her family?
Right.
How does she talk to people that she doesn't like? How does she engage? Does she cuss a lot or does
Mhm.
she speak words of life? Does she, when she gets mad, when you say no, does she throw a fit? Or does she say okay and she says it cheerfully? How does she respond to you when you might reject something that you can't do at the moment? Put
Right.
in bad situations, how does she adhere to that? It's so many things where her reaction is going to be put in a light where you can see her character and what she's going to do in those moments and not just in the moments where she's ready for it because you don't want to be in a situation you want to avoid at all costs not understanding a woman when she is frustrated, she is mad, she is sad, all of the negative feelings. Get her, like, wait until she's in those environments, and when she's in those environments it will expose the things that you need to see. And I will couple that with prayer and fasting.
Right.
When you pray and you fast, you have to be understanding and willing that God will reveal that if she's not the one for you or not. But that has to be a man's job to have a relationship with God himself as well.
Right. And to all the men out there, I think this is very key to what you said. Having that woman that prays with you, like you said, when you say no, how is her reaction going to be? I feel like
Mhm.
that's all good and gravy, but then I think there comes a point where there could be that 5, 10 years passes by where in the beginning she might have been like that, but then towards the end, something might have changed. I might have slipped up as a man. How do I know one day she's not going to change? She's going to want to ask me for money for certain things to pay bills and stuff like that. Like, I don't want to have this recurrence of trying to find another partner. Like, do you have to see that within the first few dates, or do you know based off of just who you're talking to and dealing with that's the person for you? Because I want to get to the marriage stage, but I feel like I have to date multiple people just to see like who am I going to be with.
Mhm. Yeah, that's understandable. I will say that there's a certain caliber of women that if she is ready, you will know she's ready
Hmm.
within a very short period of time. If she's not ready and you have to wait months, I guarantee you, like, it's probably not gonna be the one. Um,
But excuse me,
I've heard.
I just wanted to interrupt you. But do you feel like waiting is the best thing? Because I don't want nothing that's easy and given to me, right? So should I just wait
Mhm.
a few months or maybe a year or two to know if
Yeah,
that's
that's
the
fine.
person?
That's fine, but just make sure that you're ready. And I will also say that it's so important to lay a foundation first. You have to be able to sit down with your partner and ask those
Mhm.
hard questions. You have to have a list of things that you live and die by.
Right.
You have to sit that person down and say, do you believe in this? Are you able to come to the Bible and spirit of prophecy before any strife or confliction happens in our marriage, whenever we have conflict, are we able to go back to scripture? Can we agree to it? If I can show you in scripture when we're arguing, then can we agree that that is going to be the leading source of where we're going instead of just our own personal feelings and opinions? And when we can agree to that as a man and woman, then we will have a much better marriage rather than us just saying, I think this, and the other person saying, I think this, you're wrong, and the other
Right.
person saying, you're wrong. You're never going to get to a result or a resolution. But when you can go off of God as your foundation, it's so much better because the Bible really does talk about so many things.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And we're almost out of time here. I wish we could speak longer. I just want to just comment and just briefly, if you could explain to people about your ministry, because I know that's a big
Mhm.
thing for you now as you're transitioning into that. I believe you went away somewhere to preach some ministry. Could you just talk about that?
Yeah, I went to New Zealand and Australia
Okay.
to preach just about my journey from being a model in Hollywood, and
Mhm.
I transitioned to ministry to give my life completely to God. And I do want to also emphasize that it wasn't because of something that happened. There was nothing bad that was out there for me. There's nothing bad that you'll find on the internet, only that I just decided to make that choice, and I encourage other people to do the same.
I feel like even you at 22, did you just realize how young you are to just
Yeah.
go and preach that to the youth? Because I have Elaine, two younger siblings. They're 12 and one is about to be 15. My sister, man,
Mm,
she reads the Bible. She is a studier of it, and I think she has inspired me, you know what I'm saying? And I feel like that's what I want
praise
the youth
God.
to, yeah, thank you. And that's what I want the youth to be able to understand that there is a difference between the modernized social media and music. We have to, have that under control of what the youth listen to and what they see, because if they see that and they listen to what they're listening to, they're going to become that. And I feel like,
Yeah.
I don't want that for my brother, my sister, or the youth. I mean, I feel like that's ultimately what we need to do, and we need to have, positivity around them, love them as much as we can, because if we don't,
Hmm.
we'll have a crashed out generation. And we
Yeah.
need to
And
be,
we are already starting to. You see everything
yeah, I
that's
know.
going on.
No, no, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead. Yeah.
No, yeah, I was just saying, like, we're getting bombarded right now with absolute chaos. Like, it's crazy what's going on.
Mhm.
So I feel like people can't really ignore the fact that, like, people need to get their life right now.
Wow, yeah, they do. Let's just get the people to understand what you want them to learn from you, and just give out a closing message to anyone out there that's dealing with depression, dealing with anxiety, dealing with, struggles in their life. What would you say to them right now?
You have either two choices, whether to fold or to mold yourself. And it is really up to you whether you're going to let something break you or you're going to let it lift you up, and, and you're going to use it to be better. And I'm not really one to be too
Mhm.
soft on people. I'm just gonna kind of say like
Right.
only the strong-minded people can make it. If you're weak, you're not going to make it. But I encourage people to take those extra steps because you can do it and
Right.
you will do it if you put your mind to it. But don't let people gaslight you into thinking that you're broken. Your mind is a weapon, so rewire it.
Okay. Wow, that's powerful right there. I think you guys, if there's anything you should know about Elaine, you know she's strong-minded, strong-willed, and she wants the same for you. And I want the same for me too as well, because I'm out here trying to, become something in life and still going through my struggles each and every day, but I'm working through it. So I thank you for joining me. And can you please just give out your social media links?
Yeah, so I'm found at Elaine Goree. Elaing or Elaine Goree. And then the other platforms like YouTube is Sapphire Achilles.
Okay. I'm gonna put the link in the description so people can understand, because
Yeah, sorry.
we don't understand words. We have to see things visually,
Yeah, makes sense.
yeah. So I thank you, really do thank you for coming on. We're gonna have to do this again with more time
Yeah.
because I felt like there was so much left on the table I wanted to get into. But you gotta do it with you gotta do it first, right now.
Absolutely.
Continue to do what you do best and just share the knowledge and love of Jesus. I think that's what we need in this life right now.
Absolutely. You as well.
All right, now that is a wrap. This is Steph Saucy Talk. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel or just follow me too at Steph Saucy or at Steph Saucy Talk on all platforms. All right, we did it. It's a wrap. Until next time, peace.